Hello, and welcome back to, well, this should have been part 6, but it's going to be part 5 of my Haas Driver Career mode. I'm going to run you through quickly what happened in Miami. So, as we come to the 5 red lights, we're going to be lining up in P9, Perez versus Alonso alongside us on the grid. We get a pretty decent start on the Seth Hards. We decide to go for the alternate strategy. We get round Lando Norris, Sergio Perez and Esteban off into turn 1. A little bit of fighting with the Alpine and the Red Bull. Verstappen ahead of us, Perez behind us, as we've made a pretty good start on the hard tyres on the alternate strategy. We're going to be going to mediums at the end of the race, and that is going to lead us to come home in P4 for the Miami Grand Prix. Not much happened really, just played out the strategy, and yeah. Oh, and also this happened, which I thought was quite funny, as the Mercedes decided to have a strategy meeting mid-race, which caused about a pile-up from P6 all the way down to P18 of Nick de Vries. And yeah, that basically just took Hamilton and Russell off the radar of maybe challenging us at the end of the race, which really helped us into our P4. But yeah. Also, Joe, I think, gets stuck on the curb and just kind of be's an idiot. And it's just a massive part of Bill Piastri. Brilliant things. And here's Joe getting stuck on the curb. It was pretty funny. And then Sargent really going for the apex there. But hey, I can't fault him for going for the apex. But yeah. But now we're back to Imola for the race that didn't happen in real life. But we are definitely going to be doing it here. And so now it's time to get into qualifying. Let's go. Alright, Ghosters, we're coming up to start our first lap in Q1. Imola, a pretty strong circuit for ourselves. I did do some practice before. Our engine's getting a little worn. We saw how that went in Australia. We lost massive time on the straights once the ICE got past 70%. We were losing about 5 miles per hour on the straights, but we can't really do much about that now in qualifying. So if we do take it, we'd be starting from the back of the grid. So we've got to go with that engine for this race. It's going to be the last race we're using that engine, as we're going to have a new one for the next race in Monaco. As now, pretty decent lap from ourselves. I think in time trial, I don't think I've done time trial on Imola. I can't use those stats anymore, but so yeah. Pretty good. We're aiming to be getting to Q3. We have the 4th or 5th fastest car. So our aim should be around P8 to around P11 to aim for on the grid. And then hopefully try and get 0.0. So we go a little bit on the grass there. Not optimal. Max Verstappen sets the fastest lap time so far, which to be honest isn't really that surprising. As we're going to run up to the line now to set a 1:16.5, which only puts us 2 tenths behind Verstappen, which all in all is a pretty decent lap from ourselves, as by the end of the session we don't go out again, we stick with that banker, and that leaves us P8. We could be on here for a pretty decent result. Q2 now, we set a banker lap on old tyres, which means now we're going to have to do it all in this final lap. We're in P13 from the banker lap. Wasn't the best of laps, but as you can see, already gaining a lot of time through the turn 2 and 3 complex out of 4. Now we're already 3 tenths up on our lap. Can we make up a little bit more time through the Villeneuve chicane? Yes, we can. 4 tenths up now in Totosa. Up the hill now for the run to the 2 quick right-handers up here. 6 tenths up on our lap. Already braking just after the 50-meter board. Jump over the curb. Use all the curb on exit now. Flat out through this first turn. Braking as late as possible into 3rd gear. Up the hill now into the final chicane. 7.5 tenths up on our lap. This is a storming lap from ourselves. Braking at the 50-meter boards. Bolt as much of the curb as possible. Now the run to the line into the 2 final corners of the lap. 7 tenths up still. Can we find a bit more time in the final 3 corners? Braking as late as possible for these 2 corners. Just hold it out in 4th. Maybe go down to 3rd there. Get a little bit better acceleration off the corner. DRS activated as we cross the line, set a 1:16.1.5. which is going to leave us P6. And now for Q3, our first banker lap. We're in P10 out of 10. We're setting a pretty decent lap on old tyres. Can we try and hold this now? Braking at the 50-meter board, coming around the final 2 corners. What is our lap going to be as we make the run to the line? As once again, DRS activated, a little bit late there, as we go P3 on our initial lap. But by the end of the session, we're in P8, as we're going to have to go for our final lap. Our teammate, Nico Hulkenberg, is in full coast. And you can see that we're at 2 minutes 19. I let the AI drive my lap, which I thought would be plenty enough time to get it rounded. You can probably tell by the way I'm storyboarding this. Our AI decided to do the slowest out lap in the existence of Formula 1, I think. As it took him about, I estimate it's 15 seconds to the end of the pit lane, which would have left him. I gave him a minute 50. It took him a minute and 40 seconds to do half a lap, which was just completely useless. Which means we don't get to set a lap, our final lap in Q3. We set our first lap on old tyres, putting us P8. We definitely have the positions to be up into P5, maybe 8, but let's get into this.
Hello there and welcome back to Imola, home circuit of the Scuderia Ferrari. We expect to see a lot of local supporters wearing red today, and they've all turned out for what we're expecting will be a sensational event here at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. 3.1 miles of track at Imola, featuring 19 turns, 9 to the right and 10 to the left. Remember that Imola differs from most other Formula 1 tracks as it's taken anti-clockwise. Let's hope nobody forgets that today. The exit from turn 18 will probably be the setup for many of today's overtakes, leading as it does into the longest straight on the circuit and its only DRS zone. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. An immense lap from Carlos Sainz yesterday puts him in pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Russell, Verstappen, Perez, Fernando Alonso, the engineer, Norris, Hulkenberg, Ocon, Oscar Piastri, Albon, Bottas, Joe, Sargent, Gasly, Tsunoda, Stroll and Nick de Vries. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Alright people, so we're coming to the start of the race. We're going to be starting on the medium tyres. Fernando Alonso ahead of us on the hards. Norris behind us on the mediums, and Hulkenberg right behind him on the mediums. Let's see what we can do off the start. We're looking to make our position on Alonso. Maybe we've seen Perez hasn't really had the best of starts this season, as Lando Norris and McLaren really wanting to get to his grid spot pretty quickly. We do a couple of burnouts to the line as we line up on the grid, ready for the main race at Imola. No sprint on this game, as we're now ready to go to 5 red lights, as it's 5 red lights. And it's lights out and we go green in Imola. We get a pretty decent start. We're alongside Fernando Alonso already. We get held up by the slow starting Sergio Perez. Once again, side by side, through into turn 2. Now, can we get late on the race? No, we can't. We get a warning for a collision with Perez. We get up the inside of Perez. A little bit of wing flies off. I think that's off the Aston Martin or maybe the Mercedes of George Russell. Perez now behind us. I'm pretty sure it's the Aston Martin. He's losing time quite rapidly to the cars ahead. Can we get up the inside of the Mercedes? Yes, we can. He's going to hold it around the outside, though, as we're going to be a drag race up the hill. Our engine worn. Can we hold it with him? ERS deployed. He'll be deploying ERS as well. He just gets ahead of us. Russell stays ahead for now, but it's definitely Alonso which has the wing damage in this race. As Perez is right behind us. Here's a little look up the inside. We cut that off, gave him the space. He decided to back out a bit. We now have the time to try and make up, because Fernando Alonso is going to box. You can see there's already a gap forming between Max Verstappen and Fernando Alonso. Pretty decent start for ourselves. Pretty decent start for our teammate as well, who's still in the points. I believe he's in... Oh, I don't know what position we're in, so I can't tell him what position he's in. But it's a good start from the Ferraris. They lead 1-2 in this race, as we now going to try and get past Russell maybe with the slipstream on this straight. Alonso pulls into the pits. Russell's cutting the hole in the air. We pull out to the inside. Can we get ahead of Russell? ERS deployed. He's got more engine power. He's got less drive. We're going to be side by side into turn 1. Can we have the inside line? Yes, we can, but he cuts us off. And we have to lose time to the Mercedes as he cuts us off. Perez gets fought up with Hulkenberg, and Hulkenberg's going for the move behind us. Hulkenberg and Perez side by side. Hulkenberg gets up to P7. This is good work from our team. P6 and 7 will be a massive result for the team, but we're looking to make it better. Can we get past George Russell for P5 in this race? Maybe even Verstappen. He's a little bit up the road, but I'm pretty sure we might be able to drag ourselves down. This is Hulkenberg and Perez. Perez is coming back for the move on the Hulkenberg. He goes for the outside line. We'll turn to the inside. Here we go. Can Hulkenberg hold the move? Can he do what we did on lap 1? No, Perez cuts him off. He's learned from fighting us. Can Hulkenberg get the run down into Villeneuve? Maybe, maybe. No, Hulkenberg is going to have to stay behind for this lap as Perez gets back at him, but it has held him up a bit. And we now have a little bit of a gap behind us so that we can just purely focus on the getting past George Russell. You see there's a massive train between Perez and Hulkenberg. It's now DRS is active on lap 6. We're not going to activate it though because we want to stay behind Russell. Just try and build up a gap in this race. Little bit of a screen freeze through turn 1. We lose a little bit of time, but we are trying to manage the car at the moment. We need to manage our fuel as we're a little bit down on fuel, and we also kind of want to manage our ERS to maybe try and make a push afterwards after we get past Russell, but we are holding on to him. Hulkenberg gets back past Perez behind us, and now on the end of lap 6, this is our time to go. We're deploying the ERS, we're deploying the battery, we've got the DRS active, we've got the slipstream. Can we get past George Russell? We go for the outside of turn 1, turn to the inside of turn 2. We're fully ahead in the braking zone, and we're up into P5 in the Haas. We're going to have Russell directly behind us. Maybe he might try and make a move on the next few corners, and maybe he may try and make a move into Villeneuve, but no, he stays behind for now. As on lap 8, start of lap 8, he's coming for the move again. He's got DRS. We're not going to deploy any battery, as there's no point in losing the time. We just got to shake and bake with Russell for this Grand Prix. We got to work together with the Brit, our fellow Brit, in this race. Mercedes and Haas, the Germans and the Americans working. What's it? Yeah, it is German, isn't it? Jesus, my head went there. Never mind. But now on lap 11, we're closing right up to Russell. We're gonna have to back off going in to the penultimate corner of this lap. Russell ahead now. We're gonna once again have the battery to try and attack the Mercedes. We're gonna have DRS active now. Slipstream once again. We're going to go, maybe try and chase for the inside, but we go, switch to the outside. Russell, side by side. Can we hold it once again ahead of him into the braking zone of turn 2? And on lap 12, we are back up ahead of Russell. As you can see, we are closing in to the cars ahead, but fighting with Russell this much isn't going to help us. He just pulls out to the side there at Villeneuve, tries to scare us into making a mistake. We're not going to falter from our racing line. You see, Perez is catching up to us a bit, but we are still pretty much holding the gaps to the Red Bulls ahead. It's still a Ferrari 1-2, as this is now Hamilton and Verstappen. Verstappen's going for the move on Hamilton. Can he make the move on Hamilton? You can see we're right in the background there. We really aren't that far behind. We're only about a second and a half behind now. If they fight, we will be right on the back of the Mercedes and the Red Bull. Here we go. Verstappen going for the move with DRS. The Red Bull DRS proven to be very powerful in real life. Is it as powerful in the F1 game? It seems to be so. Hamilton drops down a place, and we gain a tiny bit of time to the cars ahead. As you can see now, we have lost a bit though, as they are faster cars at this point in time. We got upgrades in the pipeline, but like Haas in real life, we really struggle with our tyre wear. So later in the stint, we are struggling, as we saw in Baku last. No, not last race, but it was the last video. But as Russell now gets past us up the hill, we couldn't get the traction and the drive out of the corners, as we are going to be boxing this lap, I'm pretty sure. As now we do got to save a little bit of battery, as Russell gets really crossed up through the middle section. He's got a really bad run through Aqua Minerale. It's now to the chicane. Russell goes defensive. We close right up to the back, and he has a poor exit. That's going to hinder ourselves as he is just a roadblock in the way. As that's allowed Sergio Perez right onto the back as we come into the pits at lap 15. And now everybody breathe as we are now going for the undercut on George Russell. Trying to keep, well, I would say ahead of him, but we were behind him coming into this. We're going to try and get the jump on him. We should be able to get the jump on him from the new tyres, as apparently it's still 3 o'clock. I don't think that's right on the Rolex board, but for now, coming out of the pits, this is going to have to be a monster outlap from ourselves. Let's get going, as we're now halfway through this race, as let's go see if we can get onto the back of Russell. Hamilton ahead of us, 4.7 seconds ahead, so they did pull out a little bit more of a gap ahead of us. As now coming through the pit lane, now our teammates in the pits, Russell's in the pits, Perez has jumped Russell at some point in that lap, but we are now up into P6 in this race, and I'm pretty sure there's still Lance Stroll to box ahead of us, as he's going to be a mobile chicane for the cars ahead at some point, because I'm pretty sure they're right on the back of him now, as we have Perez and Russell right on the back of us. We should have better heated tyres, but we know the AI are pretty fast. Here you can see that is Stroll in the Aston Martin, Sainz and Hamilton struggling to get past him through the chicane. That's allowing us to close right up to this group. Can Sainz and Hamilton clear Stroll enough to maybe challenge the Red Bull up ahead and the other Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, wherever he's ended up? I'm pretty sure he's having a pretty dominant race up ahead, but we can see we're now right on the back of Hamilton. Sainz is going round the outside of Lance Stroll with DRS. Hamilton is going to move to the inside and then make it 3 wide through turn 1. We're going to try and make the move into the second chicane, but we're just too far back and they're just too far side by side, and that is really annoying. So we're now going to have the roadblock of Lance Stroll as Hamilton and Sainz clear off into distance. We are eventually going to get it past him a few corners later, as we just squeeze into the inside. A little bit of contact there with our rear wheel.
Nice work,
as
mate.
Stroll gets a bit of understeer. We maybe squeezed him a bit too much in there. As you can see, Hamilton and Sainz, we were right behind Hamilton before he got past Stroll. And now he's 1.5 seconds ahead. We're going to try and make up some places, but I'm really not sure about what we can do in this. But we have got now the luxury of Stroll being a little defense for us, as he is losing so much time for Sergio Perez. We now have a massive buffer of around 2.5 seconds to Perez. Now, I assume Stroll might come into the box at the end of this lap. He's on hard tyres. He's obviously done 18 laps on those. As now Russell and Perez have got back onto the back of us by lap 21 now, as we are now ahead of this group. Hamilton and Sainz 5 seconds ahead. We've got Russell right behind us. He's got DRS. He goes right up the inside in turn 1. That is definitely... If I hadn't moved to the side, he was going to drive right into our side pod. Sergio Perez comes up the inside, but we follow up with a little bit of wheel banging with the Mexican. But right now, we just need to hold on to George Russell. So that's the position that we want in this race. We want that P5, and we want to get as many points as we can. As Hulkenberg is right on the back of this, train. Maybe he can get some pretty decent points as well in this race. Russell up ahead of us right now. Perez right behind. Pretty similar gaps between us, as Russell is really slow through that corner there. Maybe he's got an engine issue. Maybe he's struggling with tyres. But what I do know is we are definitely faster than him through the corners. You can now see we've got the run up to the chicane. Will we deploy RS? No, we're not. Can we get around the outside? Russell's going to go defensive in the corner. We know he's been struggling at the chicane compared to us. We bolt the curb there. He does get a better exit than the last time we fought him at the chicane, but now it's going to be our turn with DRS to try and make the move into the turn 2, turn 3 chicane as we close right up to him. He's really struggling on those tyres. We got the exit now. We'll have the slipstream as he pulls into the pits. Russell has damage, and that's going to leave us completely vulnerable to Sergio Perez and Norris and Hulkenberg right behind us. Can we maybe get up the inside of Sergio Perez? We let him go. He goes defensive. We just get a wheel out the inside. We got the inside line, and we managed to hold our position on Perez, and Hulkenberg gets through up into P6. And that is exactly what Haas need. A P5 and a P6 would be an absolutely massive result in the Constructors' Championship. We're rivaling Aston Martin at the moment, who aren't having as good as a start to the season as they are in real life. Lance Stroll really not pulling his weight in that Aston Martin. But now, we are saving fuel. So, right now, in my mind, I know Hülkenberg's not saving fuel. He's got younger tyres than us, but he does have the Red Bull of Sergio Perez. So, even if I'm not going to be able to stay ahead with the DRS, I may as well just let him go on the DRS, not fight him, try and build him a gap, and I'll defend him from Perez. Because it doesn't make any difference to me what positions round we finish, because we're not fighting for anything in the drivers. So if we can let Hülkenberg through now and build him up a gap, we're fully focused on the team right now, rather than the drivers. As we pull off to the side, let Hülkenberg through. We now defend from Perez, lifting off into the corner, lifting coast to try and save some fuel. As you can see, we're only about 0.08 of a lap up on fuel, and we're burning it a lot quicker than we're saving it. As now Hülkenberg is now pulling away. Perez trying to make some moves on us, but I don't care about Hülkenberg pulling away. I think I can fight Perez for P6. As now we're looking at Hamilton versus Sainz. Yellow flags around there, and it's for Hamilton. Hamilton has had an engine failure. He was ahead of us. That's going to be even more points for us in this race. And on lap 27, we have Hülkenberg right ahead of Perez, right behind us. We're closing right up on there. So you can see yellow flags ahead, and that's Hülkenberg. Oh no, our teammate's engine's gone. Oh no, that is such a shame for the team and for Nico Hülkenberg. That would have been his first points of the season. And now he's out on lap 28. 4 laps away from a P4 finish for Hülkenberg. And he's out. That is a massive blow for the team and a massive blow for ourselves. And we're now sitting duck with Norris and Perez, but luckily they've decided to fight, and Norris and Perez are now 1.7 seconds and 2.1 seconds behind us respectively, but we don't have the battery to play with to try and defend. But now on lap 52, Charles Leclerc wins the race, and we managed to keep that gap on Norris and Perez. A little bit of a gap ahead of us, but we are going to come across the line, hopefully in P4, we don't make any mistakes. And it's now a run to the line, across the line for our second P4 finish in a row. Haas F1 team, Money Ground Haas F1 team, for 2 4th places in a row. And I believe that puts us ahead of Aston Martin in the Constructors, if I'm not too mistaken. But hey, another decent result in the Haas. It's definitely getting better. As I'm pretty sure we're P5. Well, not P5. We're 5th in the
how do they manage to achieve
what do you
this
call
win?
it? The R&D chart, and we've got a lot of upgrades to come through in Spain and at Monaco, which will hopefully launch up the order a little bit and try and maybe pick up a few more podiums. Well, I say a few more. Pick up our first podium in Formula 1. Maybe even a win this season at the rate of development that we've got. Our chassis was probably our worst thing at the start, and now we've got about 4 or 5 weight reduction upgrades on it. And we are flying through the corners. You can see Russell was struggling on his exits. We weren't. That's been one of the main characteristics of the car. But all in all, a pretty decent race for ourselves. A Ferrari, I believe, was that Ferrari 1-2? Or was it, oh no, I think it was a Ferrari 1-3. But Ferrari are really taking the challenge to Red Bull in this season, very unlike they are in real life. He come in P4 for 12 points. Lando Norris in the McLaren comes in P5, and Sergio Perez once again not having the best of races in the car that he's in. And yeah, it would have been a lot better if Hülkenberg could have scored points as well. Both Mercedes out of the points as well. Hamilton with a DNF and Russell with a front wing change late on, as yeah, we just couldn't move forward. But I think we've maximised where we could have been in this race. We're P8 in the drivers we might be able to fight Fernando Alonso for that P7. Maybe if the car improves a little bit, we might be able to fight the Mercedes drivers if they don't move forward, but I'm sure they will be bringing upgrades as well. Oh, we're P6 in the Constructors, not that far behind McLaren and Aston though, as we are definitely ahead of Alpine. And I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.